Welcome back to Star Wars Nerds Unite, episode number 96. This will be the greatest podcast we've ever done. I am your host, Tim vanautreve. Joining me as always are internet famous Josh the Tosh Mason.
Hi.
And the lovely Jennifer vanautreve. Hello.
Hello.
Today we are going to be discussing, with spoilers, that's not what it's called. It's called Rogue One, a Star Wars story. So if you have not watched the movie yet, pause this episode, go to your local theater, consume it, come back, listen to this episode, because we're going to drop every spoiler that ever spoiled the spoil. Right, guys?
Yeah, this is spoilertown.com.
I just realized that picture of Nightwing back there looks like Kylo Ren. Like, his face is so huge.
Very on topic. Good job. Stay to the point. Stay into the point. Rogue One, directed by Gareth Edwards. Josh.
What? We don't need to synopsize it, do we?
No, I'm not going to synopsize the whole thing. This was an amazing movie. I'm just going to throw that out there. I couldn't have been more blown away by the things that went up on that screen, with all of the X-Wings and Y-Wings and wings that I don't even know the names of, all the Moncal cruisers and Star Destroyers and planetary shield gates. Oh, man. And those, what were they? The AT what Ts?
AT-ACT.
All right, the prototype ones.
No, they're not the prototype ones. They are AT-ATs that have been modified for cargo containment.
Oh, well, they looked terrifying.
Well, they're AT-ATs with just big bulges for cargo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome. I was kind of worried that it wasn't going to be anything compared to episode 7, and I think I kind of like it better.
I think I kind of did too.
Whoa.
Well, episode 7 hit on a lot of nostalgia beats, and I think this one
was more nostalgic.
But there's
so
subtle.
much more detail to this one.
Yeah, there
and
was.
Information and actual
It was way more
plot
frenetic.
Story, yes.
Yeah, and there was a lot more interesting twists and things that happened. It wasn't so direct of a story. There's a lot more, subterfuge and plot to it. And it was very believable, I guess. Like, the way that the band of rebels the rogues got together. It was a little more, it was more like Guardians were put together, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and you buy their relationship, versus the way that Suicide Squad was put together, and you want to ice pick your eyeballs out when you watch it, because it's so much garbage on the screen.
Suicide Squad.
It's so bad. And the relationship building between the characters is the worst. They hate each other, and then for 1 second, and the next second they love each other. Well, we're not reviewing that.
I don't think they ever
movie.
loved each other.
They're family. They talked about how they were family now.
I don't know.
Whatever. Anyway.
I don't even know why you're bringing that movie up.
Because it's similar in the way that they brought a band of disparate figures together, and then suddenly they get along.
Save the universe.
Right. But oh man, it was so cool. And I liked the way that at the beginning of the movie there's action and big events that happen, but then it rolls into a climax where that is actually feels like it's the climax. And the climax, there's so many blockbuster movies now where there's a big giant climax at the beginning, and then there's a giant climax at the end, and by the time you're in the one at the end, you're ready for it to be over because it's too long. And at no point did I feel like that in this movie.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Like the Avengers movies, even.
No, I'm talking about
just too long.
I don't know what you're talking about either.
I don't know what you thought was the first climax.
Well, I mean, it's not like a climax. It's like a big action set, a big action scene where they blow up Jeddah City.
Oh, I wouldn't consider that the beginning.
No.
Okay, well, it's the middle then. Well, the beginning would be when the Ursos are killed.
I was really glad that I listened to that book. And it really did pick up like almost exactly where the book left you off.
It's kind of weird how easy it would be for somebody watching just the movie to think Galen's a big time douche nozzle.
Yes, that is true.
Because you always just see him in an Imperial uniform, and the way Krennic talks to him, it's like we mentioned, you guys think they were BFFs. Well, Tim does. Well,
I don't as much anymore.
Right, but
Do you still think that he was in love with Lyra?
No. I do think that Krennic perhaps was never quite a good guy.
But I think you would have a much different perspective of Galen.
So you pretty much
book.
flip-flopped on everything you thought about Krennic.
Yeah, I guess so.
I thought he was evil to the core.
Because he can't read subtext and cues. Tim cannot process them properly.
Yep. I can't process anything.
But aside from that, Callus isn't a big deal.
I was really, really glad that I did listen to the book, though, and I kind of think it'd be weird not, like, watching a big movie like this and not having any idea who those people were. I mean, you get it, like, oh, the Empire broke up their family and she grew up alone, blah, 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 but, like, I don't know.
Without the book, you would never assume that Galen and Krennic had this antagonistic relationship for so long.
That the Death Star had been going on for like at least 6 years or more before that, before he showed up.
Probably
there.
More than that.
Yeah. Because one thing about A New Hope, like, which I really like this movie, is that it fills in so many of those questions and details, and like, how could somebody defeat the Death Star? How could somebody do this? And then you get so much from this movie, all the explanations you would ever need.
Yeah, it did fill in a ton of holes that you find out who all the rebels were that died for the information, which was basically everyone. I mean, Vader shows up and destroys the whole fleet at the end.
Well, not the whole fleet.
Yeah, a handful of ships got away, which also explains why there's hardly any ships left to assault the first Death Star in A New Hope.
Well, they just know that there's no point in sending the capital ships to the Death Star because they'll just be shot by the cannon.
So how does the second Death Star get defeated?
They fly inside it and blow it up.
In a similar way to the first one?
No.
The second one doesn't have any kind of weakness? I think they just decided that they were going to...
Well, the Bothans learned about it.
The Bothans learned that it existed and that it had a shield generator on it and where it was.
Yeah, the shield generator was on the planet, so they had to blow up the shield generator on the planet.
So their decision was... Really, the Death Star 2 was just a big trap to get all the rebellion there in one spot and destroy them all.
Okay.
It didn't need to be a well-protected base.
Yeah, and the only thing Palpatine cared about was the laser, really.
Right.
I really liked the visualization of the laser in this movie when it hit the cities.
Yeah, it was cool.
I thought it was really sweet that Krennic got killed by the Death Star.
Yeah, it was
and
good.
Like he's laying there looking up at it, and
he realizes that he created that. Mm-hmm. He created his own demise.
Yeah,
both professionally and literally.
Yeah, that was a really good scene.
It was.
I thought that when definitely when it was showing the different, whatever they're called, different squadrons, the different pilots, like close up in their ships, like it totally had like a 70s look to it.
Some of them were
the same.
Yeah.
Gold Leader and Red Leader were the exact same.
And they used footage from the original Star Wars.
I don't know how they did that and made it look like a new movie, but it was... I thought it looked really cool when it was like just like a shot of space, and then all of a sudden, like, the ships would just appear. Like,
yeah, that's
I've
hyperspace.
seen that. I know I've seen that in the older movies before, but it looks better now.
Yeah,
like it just looks really cool.
The scenes where they showed the Gold Leader and Red Leader, I'm getting sappy in my old age. I almost cried.
Oh my god.
Though I don't cry. I pride myself on it. But when Red Leader, he was like, Red Leader signing in. I was like, oh my god.
I didn't like the part.
There.
One of the parts that I did not like was when they intentionally showed Red 5 getting blown up.
Yeah.
That was way too much fan service.
Because they didn't need to do that because so much of the rest of the fleet was blowing up anyway.
Right.
But all it was to show that there was a spot in Red Squadron for Luke.
Right.
Because Luke was Red 5.
They didn't need to show that.
No, they really didn't. At all.
That stands out to me, maybe because it was near the end of the movie, but it stands out to me as one of the things that I liked the least.
So I guess, I didn't know that they could put people from the 70s into a movie today. Nolan told me on the way home that it was like they digitized like the actor who played Tarkin from the movies, and that was like there was no new actor, like it was him the whole time.
Well, there was an actor, and they just
like in a green
replaced the
suit
head
or something.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, that is so weird. Like I knew like he looked extremely similar, but I never would have thought that was fake, like that was a computer thing.
It was good.
And I never would have thought that those other guys.
Well, the other guys weren't computer. That's what I'm saying. They used original footage from A New Hope. It was extra footage that wasn't used in the movie.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. The only other character that was Leia.
Yeah, which I thought she looked really good at the end. I thought that was cool.
I thought
too.
Leia looked better than Tarkin.
Did you? I thought Tarkin looked better than Leia.
I thought Tarkin looked like he was half dead.
Yeah, he
But
was
that's
way
how
too,
he always looked.
But he wasn't so red
but
and
they
gaunt.
didn't have you probably couldn't see all the details back then.
Right.
And
he had stage makeup. The actor had stage makeup, I'm sure. And the CGI representation didn't, so it looked too realistic.
Well, they probably had reasons for the coloring, if I had to guess. Like, in order to make it look more real, they had to put that coloring on it or something.
Sure.
But I mean,
looked
just
bad.
the fact that they can get that close now,
Yeah, it was really good.
it means that we're in pretty good shape. we might be able to see Star Wars movies with real Han and Leia for the rest of our lives.
I don't think they will.
It
works for a 8-second.
It does right now, and it
segue.
will in 20 years from now. It will work 100%.
But I'm not interested in that.
I am.
I'm interested in news stories.
So did you know pretty much everything that was going to happen?
Yeah.
Did you already?
I had seen all the major scenes.
Are you serious? You watched the scenes already?
Yeah.
I can't believe that they killed. I'm surprised they killed all the rogues.
I've said from the beginning they all
Yeah.
have to die.
I
didn't think they would all die. That was truthfully, I think that's a bold move. I mean, you took all your main characters, you established them all in this movie, all this marketing and everything behind it, and then you end up killing them.
Yeah, but it was a prequel. We already know what happens after this.
But you don't
they're not there.
But that doesn't mean that they're not just somewhere else. They could have gone on they could have gone on vacation or been in prison.
But they didn't. They all died.
They did. But like all those toys and everything, like that just seems.
They can still make toys.
I know
they
that.
Don't have
Speaking
to be
of
alive.
people surviving, how much of the Star Wars Rebels Easter eggs did you guys catch?
None.
Zero.
I saw an email that you guys were. I don't even know who you're emailing. But you were talking about.
Yeah,
it sounded like
we're gonna read it
the
on
ghost.
the air.
So the ghost is on Yavin. You can see the ghost during when they're leaving Yavin for the first time. You can clearly see the ghost sitting there.
I want to see it.
And then the ghost is also in the space battle in 2 different parts. And the second time they leave Yavin, on the loudspeaker, there's a message for General Syndulla to come to the briefing room.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
I did hear that.
So they're either talking about Cham Syndulla or Hera. Probably Hera.
Yeah, most likely.
So the ghost is there, and probably
I think it
Hera's
would have been
there.
awesome if they would have just like shown Zeb like walking and like pushing and like knocking
Maybe he's there
somebody
somewhere.
over.
I don't know. There's a lot going on in those Yavin scenes.
Yeah, there was so much detail in this.
We should talk. We saw it in 3D as well.
I didn't even notice any 3D action.
The whole movie was in 3D.
Yeah, but there
was
wasn't anything that
There was
nothing
It
in
wasn't
your
like
face.
the
It wasn't like
finalizer
it's
in
flying
The
at
Force
your
Awakens
face.
where there's just that shot where the Star Destroyer is
Right.
poking your brain. It was subtle, but it was I thought it was great 3D.
Yeah, it was fine. I'm sure I would have liked it just as well in 2D.
Sure.
But the detail in all the scenes, I mean, there were so many different set pieces on so many different worlds, and there's so much going on in all the markets and people walking around and the battle stations and like Yavin 4. I mean, how many starships were there and how many different aliens and people walking around? And
So did you catch another Easter egg cameo on Jeddah?
No.
I mean, you should have seen it. It's when I went to the bathroom.
oh,
I only know that I've seen it
Somehow
before.
somebody blocked my view at that moment.
Yeah, it was longer than that. Cassian bumps into Panda Baba and Dr. Ezra.
Yeah, I saw that. They're the ones that Obi-Wan cuts his arm off in the Mos Eisley Cantina. They get in a bar fight in A New Hope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That Star Wars movie.
Can you pull up a picture of the ghost scene?
I'm sure I can find it. Yeah.
I want to see it. I've said from the beginning I don't think that they were gonna die on Rebels.
Well, Kanan and Ezra have to die
Why?
because if there were Jedi around, they would be prominent.
Yeah.
Maybe they're.
I mean, one of the
hiding
subtle
their abilities.
discussions was Mon Mothma saying to Organa, "Hey, maybe you should go talk to Ben Kenobi. We need some Jedi."
Talk to your Jedi friend.
Right.
Yeah. Your special friend. As if he only has one
Right.
now.
Instead of, "Hey, we've got Kanan and Ezra over here. We could use some more Jedi."
Yeah. Yep. So, what did you guys? I mean, what significant things did you see besides the Easter egg that you're trying to look up? What was there, like a scene that blew you away that almost made you cry?
I thought it was really awesome when they show Vader in the back to tank you could see his skin. You can see like the back of his body.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he comes out, you have like this huge like open hangar type room, and you can see the shadow of the door opening, and you can see his shadow against this huge wall.
Yeah.
And you can just see Krennic like melting in fear just by the first image of
But
him.
his castle thing is on Mustafar.
I was just going to say, it's on Mustafar, which is
and that
very poetic.
That castle was in some original concept art for Star Wars. So it's they've dug up yet another thing from the old Ralph McQuarrie concept art.
Which helps keep the vision of Star Wars looking the way it does, even though we're modern.
So I just showed her the picture. The ghost is right.
I would have never known that was the ghost.
Yeah, that is it.
That's one. It's in 3 different spots. I'll see if I can find the one on Yavin.
Was there a scene that almost made you cry, Josh?
And there's lots of cool scenes. Obviously, the last scene is awesome. That's what I commented on Facebook.
I thought that was really, really cool. I don't remember ever seeing Vader like hack down people like that.
Right.
Like he just
in the comics.
like
It looked like something that
it was like a real action scene with him just like killing probably 30 people, and it showed everything, like him using his lightsaber, him throwing him against the wall and using the force and
to pull their guns out of their hands.
So you must not have noticed it. He held a guy against the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then cut him in half while he was on the ceiling.
Oh, I didn't notice that he cut him in half.
Yes, on a backswing. Cuts him in half.
That's awesome.
And then the guys were like literally running for their lives trying to get out of the door, and then they passed the
Well, they had the data chip.
had the data
with
chip.
the Death Star plans, and that's what Vader is after. Mm-hmm. And they're
But
frantically
the
trying. It's
only-
so intense. Oh
Yeah.
man, it's so good.
and they got it out of there. But the only thing is, when he got to the edge of the ship and they got away, the ship was like not very far away. He could have used the force
Right.
to pull it back in. He's like done way more than that with ships.
Yeah, that part was...
He kind of let them go.
I mean, the scene itself is cool, but the implications of the scene, I think, are dumb.
Yeah, he could have totally gotten them back.
I like that it leads right into, like, directly into A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're literally chasing down that frigate right at the beginning of A New Hope.
That's one thing about before I started reading all the comics and everything. I always thought, just from like the original movies, it's all just kind of vague and confusing. Like, you guys said, you have these games and you have this in the books, and that's how you know all the details. But this new movie, like, for people who are just now getting into it, they would not feel like there's a mystery about it, because there's so many details in the movie that...
There's still a lot of stuff that skips around and is confusing. I don't know. The movie is so fast, and it covers so much ground. There's still a lot of stuff that they leave out.
Yeah.
But it tidies up a lot. I mean, it really...
It only tidies up because the story ends. Like, there's a definite conclusion. Like,
Yeah, I don't feel like there's a ton of loose ends that are created. I feel like there's a lot of loose ends tied off. And I feel like there's loose ends from the book that are ended as well.
There's ambiguity and stuff that I don't like. But
so Tarkin obviously won the battle with Krennic.
Yeah. We already knew that.
Well, yeah, we did.
Well, I didn't know it was going to end like that.
No.
Because I didn't watch the scenes ahead of time.
In such an explosive way.
It had my favorite robot of all time.
K2SO?
Yeah.
You like him better than R2D2?
I like him better than all the robots combined, I think.
And he's gone forever.
I know. Forever. Didn't you like him?
Yeah, I did. He was really funny.
He was awesome.
Yeah, he was tough and funny all at the same time. How come they don't put C-3PO inside one? Oh, he'd probably get everybody killed.
He's a wimp. He's like, he'd be the worst.
Who's your favorite rogue out of all of them?
I really like the blind guy.
Chirrut?
Sure.
Yeah, he was my favorite too.
He was written to be the fan favorite, I think. I think I like Bodhi the most.
The pilot?
Yeah, he was the most real.
He was good.
All the other ones are pretty unbelievable to me, but...
Was the guy with like the jetpack looking gun thing were him and the blind guy brothers?
They weren't brothers. They're both guardians of the Wills.
But they're not brothers?
One's Baze Malbus and one is Chirrut Imwe.
Oh, I
They are
didn't know
different races.
They're different races?
Yeah. One of them is Japanese and one is Chinese. So I don't think they would imply that they're brothers, but one of the...
They just were very close.
Commonly discussed, and maybe you'll think this is out of left field, but the common perception is that they were in love with each other, basically.
I could see that. They were very close.
Yeah, I picked up on some bromance.
Yeah.
Not that it really mattered. So Jenny. Saw Gerrera.
Yes.
Was in this movie. That was the part of the movie that, through the trailers, made you cringe,
the most,
complain, yell, shudder.
I didn't yell.
Oh, but you did.
He honestly was my least favorite part. Like, if there was one part that I could do without, it would be like his overacting voice when
he was so crazy.
His raspy I don't know if it had to do with him needing the oxygen and he was trying to just make himself sound like he was, I don't know, straining to live or something, but his voice was just over the top I
think his character was a lot.
It was over the top.
Yeah.
And he was overacting. Like, he could win one of those overacting awards. Like, when he was like, "Did you come here to kill me? Like,
It wasn't quite that bad.
It was very
was
bad.
pretty
not.
bad. It was pretty bad.
I liked it. I thought he played the character well.
Really?
Well,
'Cause he seemed like a crazy terrorist.
he did seem
was a
crazy.
crazy terrorist.
I mean, I'm just glad that he was not in it for very long, because that was kind of the only part that I thought was awkward and weird of the whole movie. And then when everything is collapsing around them, he's just, he just instantly is like not even going to try to get out. He's just like, go. And then it was just so dramatic.
He couldn't run, and he would have had to have run in order to get away.
I guess.
I don't know if he just decided to stop fighting, or I don't know. It was weird.
And
I think.
the like sucking on the oxygen thing.
Yeah,
That was kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought he was the only thing that kind of felt out of place or a little too much.
This was very much a war movie, and a lot more brutal, and showed some of the darker aspects of war as opposed to most of the Star Wars, where it's more of a swashbuckling adventure in space with guns a-blazing and
They always make it.
Yeah, action fun. This was dark, and people died, and there were battles, and people got chopped in half. Things, it was dark. It was a dark movie.
I liked Jin's character. I liked everyone except really I didn't really like Saul, but
Josh, what are you doing on your phone?
I'm trying to find that picture.
Well, stop finding the picture and participate in the
I
conversation.
am participating.
What was the main guy's name?
The main guy?
The
Krennic or Galen?
Cassian?
No. Cassian.
Cassian Andor?
Cassian. I liked him. I liked the pilot. I liked all of them.
Who was your favorite character?
I already told you.
Who'd you say?
Bodhi.
Oh, yeah.
The pilot.
I forgot already because your answer was so lame.
I don't know what to tell you. He is the most believable of all of them.
I liked also that this movie didn't have a laser beam shooting into space as the focal point.
I don't know any movie that has a laser beam shooting into space as the focal point.
A lot of blockbusters have this like channeling thing shooting into space.
I know what you're talking about.
That all the heroes have to stop. It's like all the Avengers movies.
Thor.
Yeah. Suicide Squad had it.
I didn't watch Suicide Squad.
Well, whatever. A lot of movies have it.
But they have nothing to do with Star Wars.
I know that, but
You just keep talking about Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
I hated that movie so
Get that
much.
movie out of your mind.
Anyway, there was no part of this movie that I disliked, really. Maybe a little bit of Saw Gerrera, but otherwise, it just was told really well, I thought.
I don't know.
What?
There's some stuff that I hate when stories do things that are stupid
Like what?
so that there's a story.
But that's characters. You can't have a character
No, I'm not
that
talking
does
about
everything.
characters. I'm talking about plot.
What did they do that was stupid?
The whole rebellion they're not going to go until the Mon Calamari Admiral decides I'm going.
Well, wasn't it because they didn't believe it? They didn't believe Urso and Jin?
It's because they were terrified of the weapon. Now that they knew there was a weapon that could blow up an entire planet, they were going to give up.
You can rationalize it however you want. It was stupid.
But they're different characters with different thoughts.
But they're people that just show up in the middle of the movie for 30 seconds and do stupid things. So that way there's some reason to place adversity on the main character.
But they're only stupid to you.
No, they're stupid in context as well.
Okay. Got it.
If there's a you can either fight now or you can never fight again.
That was basically what they were saying. They were
Right.
going to give up.
Right.
Go home. And then
that element did not exist in the rebellion until this movie.
and then the rogues showed up.
They went off on their own. They went rogue.
Yeah. I like that. I like that's where Rogue Squadron's name came from. It sets a precedent.
Rogue Squadron doesn't exist in the canon.
They will.
Maybe.
They have to.
Why?
Because I said. I really like Rogue Squadron.
Oh,
No, they do. They talk about, in Empire, they say...
Rogue Group.
Yeah.
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 It's not necessarily Rogue Squadron.
Oh my gosh, yes it is.
I don't think it is.
Rogue Leader. That's a thing.
I don't think it is. I don't remember. I don't remember that right now. This movie is too it's filling my RAM right now.
There was a lot. There's a lot to process in that movie.
There is. There's a lot you could talk about.
I was a little surprised with how what was Urso's wife's name? Lyra. With how she looked.
Yeah, she looked really weird.
She was kind of plain and at the same time weird looking.
It's like she had a wig on that didn't fit right.
Her hair was kind of like overgrown in the front.
Yeah, it was super weird.
They had it styled kind of strangely.
I thought Galen looked weird too.
He always looks like sweaty and he looks like he needs to take a shower and shave his face.
All of them
and
look
cut
like
his
that,
hair.
but that's what people always say. I want it to look grimy and gritty and real.
I mean, just because
nobody takes baths in the real world.
He's a scientist. It's not like they don't have running water,
right?
Or even a pool of water. Like, just I don't know why they always have to look so dirty.
That's what people like.
I don't.
Well, you're not.
He
people.
always looks like.
That is true.
Like
he looked pretty well put together when he was on I Do or however they pronounce it.
When he was, because they probably made him shower every day.
Like, you're stanking up the lab.
There's like a stormtrooper hosing him down.
Throwing the delousing powder on him.
Krennic just came and captured him so he could get him a haircut. That whole thing wasn't about the Death Star.
What'd you think about Cassian and his plan to shoot Urso and then him? It
wasn't his plan.
Yeah, but
it was his mission.
Right. Well, he was gonna do it and then he stopped. Did you think it was believable?
Yeah, in the moment, because he saw that Krennic was like treating him like a child and slamming him to the ground and stuff. So he realized that he wasn't
the bad guy. He was a victim.
The Empire's BFF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you?
I think it was out of character
of him to stop.
Yeah.
Well, his character developed in this 12-hour period.
Whatever.
Well, there was a couple other times where they like alluded to him having doubts about some of the things he has to do. When he shot that guy who gave him the information about the pilot, you could tell that bothered him. And then when he did it, but then he stopped and reflected, and you could tell like he cared. And then when they were caught, when Saul's guys had them down, locked in that prison area. The blind guy, what's his name? Chirrut. He said, "You seem like the kind of person who carries their prison with them." So meaning like that he's tortured about some of the things he's done, I think.
Yeah.
So it's like building up to he's probably done things that he's ashamed of and then changed his mind.
I don't like the premise that all the bad guys in the rebellion just get to cleanse themselves because they stole the Death Star plans.
Why?
What do you mean the bad guys?
Bad. The whole group that goes with the rogue team. Cassian has this huge speech about how they all have done horrible things for the rebellion, and so they're gonna redeem themselves by stealing the Death Star plans. And allow themselves to feel good about themselves and all the things they've done.
Yeah, they're going against their orders because they've been taking orders and whatever. Yeah. Whatever. I'd buy it.
It's a weak point, in my opinion.
What was a strong point? You've had
there's lots of strong points.
You've had a lot of negative stuff to say.
I'll pretty much. I think the movie overall was really, really good. Nothing I've complained about is that big. But they're all just little things.
You say it so powerfully that it seems like
because
that
I
is
have
your
conviction.
general.
Did you like this
I
one?
know what I don't like,
better
and I know
than
what I
episode
like.
7?
I think it's better than episode 7. I think it could have even been better yet if they cut out some of the things that I've talked about, obviously.
The Red 5 thing is the only thing that I think I would have actually cut. I didn't.
Right, that could be cut wholesale and nothing changes in the movie.
Yeah. I recognized it, but I didn't need it.
Right. It was stupid. I can say that with absolute no remorse. It was stupid.
I am interested in having a Star Wars movie someday where it occurs over the course of more than 12 hours or a day.
Yeah, they all, aside from the flashbacks, are all very expedient affairs.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to see
Maybe
one where they
they
actually
should
like
just
wake
make
up
a
or go to
movie
sleep.
about the book Catalyst, and it could
Yeah.
be over 5 years.
Yeah.
And they only need to film it in 2 different rooms.
They can make a
'cause
Lost
it's
Stars
just
movie.
2 people
and then it's
sitting
over like 30 years.
across from each other at a table talking.
They even showed a scene of one of their dinner parties.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did show a scene of one of their dinner parties with
Yeah.
the 3 of them discussing things.
Yeah, over wine.
That's awesome.
It irks me that Galen wore an Imperial uniform in that scene.
That did surprise me, yeah.
Because it doesn't...
I didn't
how
even
I
recognize
envisioned-
him. I
Right.
didn't even know who it was until I had a minute to process
Well, he
what was
was an
happening.
employee.
So what? He was wearing an officer's uniform.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. Or maybe we just don't understand the Imperial Navy. Have they established the Imperial Navy uniform standard in canon?
Yeah, Tarkin. Tarkin did.
Okay.
Tarkin and his droid, his tailor bot.
Yes, they did. You're right. They really did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. That's awesome. Oh,
No,
man.
overall, I thought it was very, very good. It was intense. It was an intense movie.
How many more times are you going to see it?
I don't know that I need to see it again in the theater. I don't know that there's a whole lot to pick up other than like little Easter eggs. It's pretty not very layered.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was very straightforward.
The only reason that you wouldn't necessarily go see it is because there's nothing you need to try to guess about. There's no deep layering where you're trying to figure out whether or not Kylo Ren killed Han on purpose or on...
Right.
Yeah, there's none of that.
It's super...
because the story ends.
Right.
So the only reason to watch it again was because you want to see some of the background things you weren't paying attention to because there's so much in the movie.
But I said it in like 13 words.
Yeah, but
I said it in 50 words.
I said it better.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
You just used more words.
Fans. Hashtag Tim, hashtag Mason.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to pre-order this movie.
Hashtag more is less.
Can I do that already? What do you think?
I'm sure you can pre-order it somewhere.
Well, I only pre-order on iTunes.
Oh, digital.
Yeah.
Are they going to have to turn the dish to beam it to you?
Yes, they will. They will
The
indeed.
giant dish.
That was a really big dish.
Yeah, they need more bandwidth to transfer all the data.
My parents used to have a huge satellite dish like that in their backyard. Like not that just could ever be attached to your house.
Right, the
like
ones that
its
are on the
own
ground.
Pole.
Yeah. The old
the
style
old
satellite
ones.
dishes.
My mom called me while the movie was going on, and I called her back on the way home, and I told her I was at the movies, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you said you were going to that movie. How was it?" And then my dad is always like asking her like what we're talking about when he's sitting in the same room, and she's like, "She went to see Star Trek."
Oh my gosh.
What did Nolan say? What did he think?
He just cracked up.
No, about the movie.
Oh, about the movie. He really, really liked it a lot. He still won't say definitively if he likes it better than episode 7, but he says he needs to watch it again to make that decision, but it's really close.
It's a big decision.
I don't think it's that
It's
big
one of
a
those life
decision.
changers.
He really liked it a lot. He thought it was awesome to see Darth Vader again. He said he wished that the Emperor was in it a little bit.
The Emperor would have been cool.
He said he thought it was a little confusing in the beginning when they kept jumping to like different places. And,
Yeah. Cassian was hip hopping all over the universe.
I liked how there were so many different planets that they showed. And
I was kind of like, where are they going to
scene,
so many different places?
The last scene took place in a Mediterranean jungle.
It did.
And it
Mediterranean
put
jungle
that
climate.
in canon, just like Josh needed it to
Boom.
be, so that he would be right. It was amazing.
On Scarif.
So let's talk about the movie experience as a whole. So this time I took the entire day off, but I ended up going to work anyway after sleeping in because I needed it bad. And we met at Buffalo Wild Wings at like 2?
2:30.
2:30. The movie started at 7. What time did we go last year? Like 11?
I was there before 11.
Yeah. And we weren't even first in line then, right?
I was first in
You were
line.
He was the
first.
first
That's
one
right.
there.
Yeah.
But more people showed up. This time we didn't get there until like
4:06.
4:06.
If I had to guess.
And we were
Number
first
one.
in line.
Numero uno.
The next person came, what?
4:10.
4:10, and then after that,
Nothing.
nobody showed up for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So, yeah, we had that honor. And
I learned how to play Game of Thrones.
She did. She played Game of Thrones LCG.
yeah. And what else happened when Josh got up to go to the bathroom for the 15th time during the movie? Josh apparently has the bladder of a woman who's had 15 kids.
I drank a lot of water at Buffalo Wild Wings against my better judgment.
Okay.
And as I was exiting, somebody decided to leave a giant thing of popcorn in the middle of the
It was a huge
aisle.
thing completely full of popcorn, and it was ours, and he tipped the whole thing.
It was the bucket from the
Upside
Carmike
down.
Theater, the annual bucket.
And
that
then
you
on the
buy.
way back, you like fell on top of me.
Yeah.
It was like, how is there
Somebody's
like a
foot.
hole in the floor?
I tripped
right?
on somebody's
You
foot.
didn't touch my foot.
It wouldn't have been yours. It would have been whoever's to the left of you, Kent.
Can't. Yeah, he probably tripped you.
He probably did.
He's like, spill popcorn all underneath my feet. There was so much popcorn. I had to like quietly brush it to the side just so that I had somewhere to put my feet.
Yeah, don't leave popcorn in the middle of the aisle.
I don't know why she did that. She's nuts. She values that popcorn so highly, and yet she treats it like it's nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't ever think something like that would happen.
And then when the movie was over, we were racing back to record, and Jenny's like, I gotta buy a fruit tray.
Somebody needs to go get a fruit tray for tomorrow.
And both Josh and I know what that means. That means it's gonna be 3 hours before we start recording.
Oh my gosh.
So I went and got the fruit tray that was actually just a fruit cup. And we managed to record on the night of the movie.
Before most people have seen it.
Yeah. So
There was more of a line. It seems like when we got done for the next movie, it seems like there was a longer line than
I
we
think
had.
they probably will have the same, pretty close to the same number of people
Yeah.
ultimately, but it definitely wasn't as hyped.
yeah, the theater wasn't full.
They had
It was close to full.
It was close, but it wasn't full.
they had the dressed up stormtroopers and
Yeah.
people there like episode 7.
Yeah, the theater had cool stuff going on.
They gave us posters, free posters.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. That was nice. It was a pretty good looking poster too. It was even like poster
was-
board.
Yeah.
It wasn't
I didn't
just
take
cheap
one.
paper. I took 2.
Took one for me.
You can have one.
I don't want it. Just gets thrown in the trash.
I know what you're getting for Christmas.
I don't do stuff on walls. All my walls are bare.
We don't do a lot of stuff on walls either.
I'm not
Really.
big on that. The posters just end up in the trash.
So that was our thoughts on Rogue One.
It's not all the thoughts.
Well, keep going then.
I don't know. I don't.
Did you think
We're
that
gonna have-
there was going to be a romance between Jin and Cassian?
And it was obvious.
Yeah, like obvious from the very beginning,
Right.
from the first preview, from the first time I knew that those were the two characters.
You think there's a romance between like
It was
everyone
obvious.
though?
I
It
do
was
think that.
obvious.
You're right. I do. I thought there was a romance between you and I also.
Misplaced
You're
thought.
always wrong.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of time to discuss more thoughts after you guys send in your
I
letters.
would rather respond
Yeah.
to letters than. You could just talk about every scene. There's things I liked about every scene, and things I liked about every character.
Everybody should go see this movie. I feel strongly about that statement. If you
I was
somehow
really
listen to this
worried.
podcast without,
If you're on the fence of whether or not to take kids, I would not take kids.
well, I don't know. How old?
I don't know, younger than 13.
Really? I guess
It's pretty violent.
I'm a weird parent.
You are a weird parent.
I would not hesitate to take any of our kids. Like, we've got 10-year-old, and I would have no problem with that whatsoever.
I don't think I would. So there you go.
Okay.
He doesn't care about
The only reason
shielding kids from things that they shouldn't see.
It's make-believe.
But that's the thing. The only reason it's not R is because they didn't show blood.
Okay.
He doesn't
Right?
care if it's rated R. He lets them. He has no filter on what he lets them see.
No, I mean, I do have a filter. There is a line. It's just not...
Triple X. That's the line.
You're dumb. You're such an idiot. No, I don't...
Maybe not if it's tasteful.
It's tasteful Triple X.
Shut up. Oh my gosh. So anyway, your letters. Write those in. Tell us what you thought of Rogue One, and we will read them on the air and discuss them at length. Letters at starwarsnerdsunite.com. You too can be internet famous like Josh the Tosh.
Were you worried that this was going to suck?
Who, me or him?
Both of you.
I mean, I'm always concerned that it's going to suck just because I'm kind of naturally cynical a little bit. But I had high hope that it would be good.
I've had my ear to the ground for a long time, so I knew some of the stuff that was going to happen for quite a while. I felt like it could have been mediocre very easily. Like if it was too campy. Like there's campy stuff in there. If there was more, it would be mediocre.
I was kind of scared that it was going to be a letdown.
When the stories of all the reshoots came out and all that stuff,
Are we going
there
to...
was a fear that... What?
I was just going to ask if we were going to rate and review it.
Yeah,
I
we
thought
have
you were
to
done.
rate it. There was a fear that they were going to make it more kiddie and more Disneyfied.
Yeah, they did not.
This is not a Disney movie at all.
No. No, it
aside
is
from
not.
being made by Disney.
It is absolutely a Disney movie, though, actually.
I mean, it's literally a Disney movie, but it's not.
Jenny, what's your lightsaber rating?
Well, we didn't talk about how there wasn't an opening scroll either,
Well, that's because it's not part of the story.
right? Well, I mean, it's part of the story, but it's...
Nolan said that, he goes, did you notice how they kind of like showed you a flashback instead of showing you the, like having you read like the thing about what's happened in the past? They just showed you a flashback about it. I was like, no, but I guess.
That's a statement about the education in our country. What's your rating, Jenny?
I really, really liked it a lot, and I was surprised at how much I liked it. I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
10 lightsabers? No.
I'm trying to figure
no
out
hesitation.
what we gave The Force Awakens.
I think I actually gave The Force Awakens a 10, so I feel like I probably do like this one better. But I think I was just so excited about that one because it was like the first one. Now, if I saw them both at the same time, I wouldn't have given it a 10.
They're different.
They're very different
Yeah.
movies. This has an end.
I like what 8 or 7 sets up. Because this one had no Jedi.
Well, this
There
one
was lots of Jedi lore.
This one set up A New Hope.
Sort of.
Sort
I mean,
of.
A New Hope. A New Hope.
Directly leads into it, right up to the Star Destroyer chasing the...
But A New Hope works by itself.
Yeah.
It doesn't need this movie to be a good movie. 8. Some of the stuff they're going to talk about in 8, it probably needs 7. Like, otherwise, why would you care about Rey? Why would you understand the turmoil of Kylo?
Give your lightsaber rating.
And what I'm saying is I don't...
You don't want them to...
I don't know what I gave The Force Awakens.
Just give it a
So
rating.
I would give it an incrementally higher score than The Force Awakens.
Give...
I don't know what I gave.
Oh my gosh.
His lightsaber score
It's-
is incrementally higher than whatever he gave The Force Awakens.
There you go.
That's such a terrible...
I think we all gave it 10.
so non-committal.
I don't think I gave it a 10. I think I gave it a 9 or 9.5.
Okay.
But it's just, I can't compare. I think it's unfair to compare the two. Even though they're both movies. And they're both Star Wars movies. They're doing different things.
This is a letter from Seth.
You didn't rate it. Oh, you already said a 10.
He wrote in to letters@starwarsnerdsunite.com to be read on the air, and we saved his letter because he talked a little bit about Rogue One and we wanted no spoilers. So he says, this is Seth. He says, SWNU. I found your podcast a few weeks ago via Podcast Addict and have been listening on my commute every day. I'm almost caught up. I'm skipping the episodes, reviewing the books I haven't read yet because, spoilers, I was waiting until I was caught up to send in an email, the apparent preferred method of communication. It is, with questions/comments. Since you might have already addressed the topics, but I just had to write in after the latest trailer for Rogue One. Did you happen to see the small group of Hammerhead Corvettes? Much like those that Princess Leia delivered to the rebels on Lothal and given to Phoenix Squadron? Even better, there is what looks just like a VCX-100 in a couple of shots. I doubt that we'll see any of the Ghost Crew in Rogue One, and that this is more of an Easter egg for those in the know, but either way, I'm super excited to see it in the movie. Keep up the good work. Yeah, I wouldn't have noticed that it was the Hammerheads. I'm glad that you pointed that out, because those Hammerheads really came in handy.
Yeah.
In this. I thought that
play
was
a pivotal role.
That was such a cool scene.
Yeah, that scene was awesome. Just all the CG was really good.
And that was it. That was the only letter we had since we read all the other letters when we recorded yesterday on Catalyst. So
you guys failed at writing a letter in a 24-hour period.
We used to get letters immediately. What happened?
We had some Facebook comments.
Yeah, we did have Facebook comments. You want me to read those? Nah.
I don't care. Go ahead.
All right.
There's only like 2.
Nah, we got to get to bed. And we're going to wait for all the letters for...
Right. Send us lots of letters. Your thoughts on Rogue One.
Yeah, if you send enough, then we'll be able to do an entire Rebel review, a Rogue review, a Rogue roundup, a Rogue rehash. Man, these titles write themselves.
They're not good titles, but they are titles.
So follow us everywhere you can get to a podcast, and on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, all those. Go to our Amazon link and order all your Christmas presents from starwarsnerdsunite.com. We're on the BenView network, a great group of nerd-related pop culture podcasts, and also the Retro Junkies network, a retro gaming network, which we have nothing in common with, other than some people we know. And I think that's all.
I think you should post on Twitter our ratings for Rogue One.
Okay.
I don't think that has any spoilers.
Well, it is kind of spoilery. I wouldn't have wanted to know if anybody thought it was good.
Why? How does that spoil anything?
Because I went in just completely devoid of...
That doesn't spoil anything. That just sets expectations. That doesn't spoil anything.
Okay. So
why would a major company release a movie with so much marketing money?
You can post on Twitter.
If they thought it was bad.
On the Star Wars Nerds Unite Twitter.
Well, I gotta go back and find out how many lightsabers I gave to The Force Awakens.
Incrementally better. Incrementally higher than The Force Awakens.
Well, you know you gave it between a 9 and a 10.
Right, but I don't want to say
how about you
something.
just say 9.8?
But then
that's gonna
that
be
gives
better.
me even less room for when the next best movie comes
Oh
out.
my gosh.
I don't want to pigeonhole myself into everything being a 10.
9.81, 9.82.
I gave the previous thing a 10, so this is a 10. It's got at some point.
Well, you just said
you lose all
don't
credibility.
Compare them to each other. Just compare. Just like
lose all credibility.
Rate this on its own merits.
All right.
This unique experience and nothing.
I thought it was a 9. There you go. I'll say it's a 9 for this unique experience.
Oh my gosh. Has to put a qualifier on it. Okay. That's it for tonight.
I think if you were to watch them both back to back, you would like Rogue One better.
May the Force.
Maybe once
with
8
you.
exists, maybe 7 would be better. It's context is everything.
So is 8 come out like in 1 year from now?
1 year from now. I'm hoping they'll come out of nowhere.
Have you already watched it?
No, I haven't watched it yet. But they should tell us the title of it soon.
Ooh.
And then a trailer. There was lots of rumblings that they'd put a trailer in front of Rogue One, but they didn't.
They had like 5 different commercials for different sequels coming out.
Every trailer was for a sequel other than Dunkirk.
There was Guardians of the Galaxy, Transformers, Spider-Man.
Fast and the Furious.
Oh, yeah.
Every Guardian, you said Guardians.
Yeah, Guardians looks really funny.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah, Guardians is great.
And Baby Groot is so cute.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
Did you hear that? We're doomed.
This podcast is a part of the BenView network.
You can find this and other podcasts like it at benviewnetwork.com.